The news this week wasn't
Good.
much news, actually. Yeah.
The amount of news this week was about the same as the starting of this episode.
It's not that the news wasn't good, it's that there was no news, which isn't good.
That's a
for
fair
us.
point.
Yeah. Bad news is still, news. Which, looking at this, pretty much 3 of them are bad news, and 1 of them is good news. Starting off with big tech companies plan to start moving employees back into the office this year, coming soon, which I put that into the bad news category, although it really doesn't matter to me. It depends on each individual employee whether that's good news or bad news.
Right.
Item number 2, Microsoft wants to acquire Discord.
Which is an odd thing, and I'm really curious about some of your opinions on that.
Yeah, have you read the article any? Because it actually goes into part of the reasoning that they think they want to acquire, and it is kind of interesting because I hadn't thought about this.
I did not. I took Linus's hot take on it, and then
you did? Okay.
Made up my own assumptions from his opinions.
Gotcha.
So,
item number 3 is definitely a bad thing. Microsoft Exchange mail servers can still be attacked. There was some mail servers that got hacked back in like November, December, I believe, and they're still vulnerable even after downloading some of the patches, which we never actually talked about that attack back when it happened, so we can also talk about that a little bit.
It's also a good thing that Exchange got hacked if you're Amazon.
I mean, I guess if you're the competitor, then
yeah, right?
Technically, sure. And then finally, this one is the good news, and I'll be interested to see what you have to say about this, because you've done a lot more VR than I have. Apple's upcoming mixed reality headset may weigh less than an iPhone, but more than an Apple. I added on that more than an Apple part.
I was about to say like an iMac or like an iMac all-in-one, just like a 60-pound giant screen on your face.
Nah, literal Apple. That's why Apple's not capital there.
Hey.
The more you know. And that's literally all the news this week. Yep.
Yep. All right.
All the exciting news, and it's not all that exciting, but I probably shouldn't sell it like that. Not doing the best job of selling this.
But no, keep watching. It's gonna be a great use of an hour of your time.
Oh, it might not be an hour. Don't worry about it.
Be a great use of 15 minutes. Are you able to turn your microphone down on your side some?
Yeah.
Maybe like a lot.
How about there?
Oh, it's close. Keep going.
More?
Yeah.
How about there? Perfect?
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Sorry if I've been overloading your eardrums for the past however long the stream's been going.
Oh, I bumped you back up, so now you're just not gainy. We're good. All right. Speaking of good, Facebook, Uber, Microsoft plan to bring back their employees to their offices. You say it's bad.
Is that good?
I think it's probably good.
Not for the employees. They like working from home. Employees are people too.
Employees are people too. All right, so I would argue that.
You would argue that.
I'll argue that employees are people too.
You must be associated with Facebook, Uber, Microsoft.
Right. I'm closely related to Jeff Bezos. Employees are not people. So
Amazon's not even on that list, but
right.
I'm sure
yeah, right. The first thing that comes to mind is that a lot of people actually enjoy going to work. They're a little bit on the crazy side.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it could help bringing people back to work with the mentality side. So just being around your colleagues again. Some people like that.
Some people do like that, yeah.
I think me and you might be in the other boat.
Yeah, so working from home versus working remote, each of them definitely have their pros and cons. And these are big tech companies, so a lot of the people working for them are programmers and software developers. So with software development specifically, there are pros and cons as well of working in the office versus working remote.
Yep.
So some of the pros of working in the office are you get to have face-to-face discussions, which sometimes can be easier to convey ideas if you can just draw it on a whiteboard as opposed to like pulling up Microsoft Paint on your computer.
Right.
And then there's definitely the personal aspect of getting to know your fellow employees. And there's also, and this is more of a subtle advantage of being in the office, but you can kind of overhear conversations between different people. So you can be informed about different aspects of the business, and say you're talking to one of our coworkers about an issue that you're having, and I just overhear that, and in the future if I run into that same problem, I can either solve it with the solution, or now I know two people who have also dealt with that issue, and I can reach out to you. As opposed to working remote, which also has its advantages. Working remote means that oftentimes, well, it depends on the environment, but oftentimes there's less distractions from coworkers in the office. Although if you have kids or whatever, there might be distractions from there. And then as far as work-life balance goes, it's pretty nice not to have a commute.
So some of the things I would also touch on is that by working remote, some companies might be able to get rid of their human resources department. Simply because
to an extent,
there's going to be a lot less human-to-human face-to-face interaction and body language or misinterpretation in that part. Not that it's impossible to misinterpret an email or something, but you're less likely to have problems,
like extreme conflict,
because of the extra lack of communication that being remote does cause.
But HR does a lot more than just resolving conflicts too. Like they do a lot of hiring, interview, like handle that process, and then just like administrative stuff, like payroll and all that. I guess it might fall into HR. I'm not sure.
So then one of the other things you said was getting to avoid that commute going back and forth to work. I tried living and working in the same 600 square feet. It did not work out. I enjoy having that separation of work and personal life, and I really like that part. I wouldn't mind not having to deal with people, which is pretty standard for a computer guy to be like, you could eliminate, Plague 2.0 wouldn't be like the worst thing in the world to get rid of some more people, but like, I do enjoy having the separate spaces simply to get that mindset of like, oh, this is professional work life me versus this is let's have fun and screw around me. And I think some people do miss that, simply being, living in the same 1,500 square feet or whatever.
Another advantage of working remote is you can work anywhere, pretty much, in terms of you can work in a lower cost of living area, pay less in rent, pay less for, your living expenses, and save money that way too.
And then like one of the big silly things on that one to expand is that you get to work in your comfortable setting. So if you like, it's like, I really don't like working with shoes on, which is hysterical, but I think better without my shoes on, because that's just how I've always thought, being homeschooled and then going to college online and then just doing my own research in front of my own computer. I don't wear shoes when I'm on my computer. It's when I'm at work, it's a whole different mindset by just wearing shoes. It's like the saying, you never feel more naked than when you're naked wearing shoes. Like you would rather be completely naked than being naked with wearing shoes. It feels weird.
Okay.
You're gonna try it tonight. I know you will.
I can't say I've ever. I remember ever doing that. I don't know if I've heard that saying.
Okay.
But I get the concept. Yeah. It does sound pretty strange.
Yeah. So being able to work just simply in your comfort zone, I could see raising productivity from the good employees, of course. But then at the same time, working for your comfort zone means probably the majority of the employees are lowering productivity.
That would make sense as to why they're getting people back into the office as well. Oh, another advantage of remote work is that your company doesn't have to pay dollars for a office.
Right. Instead, they're buying machines. Oh, okay. So to expand on this, last week we had talked about how an interviewer might, maybe not even consciously, but like subconsciously, review a person based on their video quality and their audio quality and their background and the full presentation of the online interview. I had a customer this week. It was quite the odd one. She came in. She said she was in the middle of a work presentation, and she had just started it, and her boss stopped her and said that they're going to reschedule it for the same time next week, and that she needs to buy a new camera. And so she had come to the store to see if I could make her webcam better but apparently they couldn't see her talking. So
Wow.
yeah, she brought in
That's
like a
pretty rough.
2008 laptop. Like it was not a new laptop with not a new camera. So I can't blame her, but like, you know, like what my face is to what your face is, hers would be like 2 steps below you. Like 240p. We weren't talking seeable. I was like, well, we can't upgrade the one in the laptop, but we can get a webcam. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what your boss is
external.
expecting, but he should have given some parameters besides better.
Yeah. Wow. I've never really heard of that happening before. At my old job, we never used the webcams when we were doing video calls. At my current job, a lot of the people use webcams
Okay.
when making video calls, and I do think it's much more personal, and you can definitely get to know each other better when you're looking at someone's face as
too.
another human, as opposed to just hearing their voice or seeing their, text messages.
So one of the odd parts to expand is that when I play VR, I'll often just join into an empty voice channel to show that I'm like in this game and I'm playing, and if anyone wants to join me, they can just jump in the voice channel and just start talking. But
Yeah.
I always play the game in VR. So one of the things I can't do is see who joins the voice channel.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those awkward things is like I'll be in the middle of playing with 3 random people on the internet or something, and a friend jumps into this voice channel and I'm like, so I don't know who this is, so I don't know what to say, but I'm in the middle of a round. If you could say who you are, that would be really fantastic. And it's always that like weird, because I can't just take off my headset for 20 seconds. I'll probably die. So I was like, can you just tell me who you are so I know how to act? Like, are you my best friend or are you that person?
Yeah. I wonder if there's a Discord bot that would announce people joining and leaving the channel.
Okay, someone...
Did you ever use TeamSpeak back in the day?
No.
Because I think TeamSpeak did have something like that, where it would say the name of the person joined your channel.
Oh, okay. Someone told me that for the HTC Vive, which is what I have, there's an add-on for...
An overlay or something?
An overlay. So if you can have Discord notify Windows 10, Windows 10 will make a notification, and then it will overlay in Vive. I was like, man, that's like 7 steps, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather be like, I don't know who this is. Who are you? Every time someone joins. But it's one of those like weird ideas that I'm just talking to a random person and not only not seeing them, but I'm not even seeing the real reality. I'm in some haunted mansion.
Yeah. Awkward interactions with people on the internet.
Right? Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, so I don't know. I think if the workplace was set up to deal with giving employees more space, then it's great. So my weekend job, we were online only for the last year because that's all we were allowed to do. And we started going to an online in the morning and in person in the afternoon. And the in-person in the afternoon, instead of having people sit like, okay, you can't see it, arms length apart from each other, they're now 10 feet apart from each other. And like, we were able to make this space simply because we have the space. So I think if Facebook could afford a slightly bigger building, then, you know, that'd be fine. But yeah, if you pack them shoulder to shoulder, I think you're going to get a pretty big kickback from employees.
Yeah. Because these companies have been working remote for, right at a year now. So it's big to finally start thinking about moving back into the office. I'm still not sure what my work's going to be like, because right now we're working remote, but my company's also constructing a new building that supposedly we're going to move into eventually, but it's still just TBD.
Right.
Said we'll be working remote until September, and then hopefully we'll learn more until then, but we'll see. So I got to wait to figure out my life. See where I'll be working. Which brings us on to our next topic, which Well, we talked about Discord in our previous topic, so
Yeah, there you go.
there's our segue. Magic.
Perfect segue.
Why Microsoft wants Discord. So this article again from The Verge, and I actually didn't hear Linus's discussion of Microsoft wanting to acquire Discord, but from this article at The Verge, they mentioned how Microsoft doesn't really have any big community applications, whereas Amazon has Twitch. Let's see. Facebook, obviously. Facebook, Instagram. Google has YouTube, which is kind of a community. Microsoft obviously has a big user base.
Okay, see, that's what I was going to...
In terms of Windows, but I couldn't really think of a community.
Xbox Live has 90 million active users.
Okay.
That's a big community. Microsoft.
Yeah.
Especially as we were talking last week with the idea of the Xbox may no longer be a hardware solution and it's a software gaming solution, and then to put in a bid for Discord, which I would argue is a gaming community.
Yeah.
Now they could just be fighting for it because it'd be great to like ruin both Xbox and Discord and try to merge them two together. Good luck with that one. But no, I think Microsoft has plenty of huge communities, much bigger than my subscriber base.
And then they own LinkedIn too, right? Which is a community.
Yeah, I think they do own LinkedIn. And that's a very big professional.
And Minecraft.
Yeah, I don't think Microsoft has much room to talk about wanting to build another community. I think they've got this one covered. One of the big hot takes on it was that Discord doesn't actually want to sell to Microsoft, and what Discord might be looking at doing is going public, but by having Microsoft willing to put in a offer to buy Discord may shoot Discord's worth through the roof. Yeah, the value through the roof. And then that way when they open to go public, they'll instantly get that spike up like most tech companies end up getting when they first go public. And so it could be Discord just playing their cards right, which could make sense if they decide to go public. I have a really hard time believing that Discord is going to want to go public. But I don't know. That's pretty much what Linus's hot take was on it.
Okay.
I, for one, don't really like Discord to begin with, so I'm very not optimistic that Discord's going to be doing the right thing anyways.
What do you dislike about Discord?
All right, so what I dislike about Discord the most, which is specifically one thing. Let me Google it to make sure I get the right thing. All right, we're going to pull it up on Reddit because that was the first link, right?
Okay.
Oh, no, that doesn't work. All right, Google. So is Discord owned by Tencent? Discord has received 158 million in funding on 2019, including undisclosed amount from Tencent. So Tencent Holdings is not exactly a company that I like. They're Hong Kong based, I believe.
They own a lot of different, like, kind of game studios, right? They make mobile games and such.
Yeah, along with they like to
part of Call of Duty, right? Or was that Activision?
Activision. Yeah, they have their fingers in a lot of different companies. Including Riot Games, Epic Games, Activision Blizzard, there it is, Ubisoft.
Okay. So it's less about liking Discord as a service, more about
who's funding their pockets.
People, yeah.
So here's another saying you've never heard of: never hire a lawyer someone else pays for, because the lawyer doesn't fight for you, they fight whoever's paying for them. So you never trust a company that you're not paying for. And now 158 million I don't think is a lot to Discord. I feel like they probably blow through that pretty fast, but the undisclosed amount is what really has the interest, simply because that could be literally any number. There's no knowing what number that one is,
but it's bigger than 150 million or whatever.
It's probably bigger. There's no for sure knowing, but that's one big reason I don't trust Discord. So if Microsoft were to buy Discord, I would honestly think that would add more legitimacy to them, and that would make them a more not upstanding but upfront business model, I guess. You at least know who your data is going to a degree. It's kind of like using Facebook, knowing that your data is going to Facebook. You don't have to worry that if you use Facebook that, you know, MySpace is going to sell the data. So that's really the biggest reason I dislike it. The big things I do like about Discord, though, is the lack of ads. It's a very clean interface. It's one thing I feel like Steam is losing, because everyone loves Steam, and I feel like those two get paired, you know, side by side all the time. But Steam seems to be really pushing game ads all the time. It's like, nah, man, I want to open up Steam, and I just want my homepage to be that one game I play every night. Like, how hard is it to have this be simple?
Yeah.
But Discord has continued to be simple, and that's kind of like one of the beauty parts of it. And then one of the big things Luke was talking about on Wayne's show was how many friends, how many people do you personally know are actually paying for the Discord Nitro, which is the only premium paid for option of Discord. And he was like, out of his 150 or so friends, he only knows like 3 people that may be paying for it. And I was like, I'm a little curious on that too. So I looked, and I like my 40 friends, I had like 4 paying for it.
Okay. Yeah, so I probably know a lot more people than that, only because
you're in a paid for server.
Well, that's a game server, but yeah, the community that I'm involved with that's based around a specific game, they also have a Discord server, which is pretty popular. It's got probably, I don't know how many users in it, but they always do the boost thing, which can allow the server to have more custom emojis and that kind of thing.
One of the big things the boost does do is improves the audio and video quality in calls. Okay. And that's why that's why actually all the friends boost towards one of the servers I'm on, just to have that extra audio quality.
So right now that server has 15 boosts. Ooh. So, but out of, you know,
right,
300 people in the server or whatever, 8 people, I have no idea how many people are in that server.
Yeah,
I don't know how to find out.
Right. So it was one of those things that I saw one of them boost it, and I was like, huh, like how, because that got my interest, like what is the point of doing that? And then to see that it actually like improved the quality by a decent chunk of bit, you know, and it's $100 a year, I believe, or something, to get the
I bet it's cheaper. There might be 2 tiers even. And there's a few other advantages that come from having Nitro. One of them is I think you can have a GIF or GIF, as I like to say, a GIF as your avatar, so it moves around. You can also have a custom number after your name. So the way that Discord does IDs is it's your username, hashtag or pound symbol, and then a number, and that's your unique identifier. If you have Nitro, you can select the number that's there. Otherwise, it just is some, you know, number that Discord generates. Yeah.
A fun fact on that one: if you pay for Nitro, change your number, and then your Nitro runs out, it'll go back to a random number. It'll change again.
That's unfortunate.
So if you're wanting Nitro just to change your number, be prepared to always pay for Nitro.
Okay. It also allows you to use custom emojis across servers. So if I'm on one server and doing and they have some custom emojis. I can go onto a different server and use those same custom emojis in that second server. And yeah, like person-to-person video calls, I think you can increase the resolution and frame rate there.
So
and then the boosts.
Yep. So one of the cool things that if Microsoft were to acquire or buy out Discord would be to see better game integrations. So right now when you're playing like a game on Steam, which I do, it's pretty easy to see on Discord that, you know, I am playing this game, but there's no like easy way to instantly join me. While in Steam, you can actually do join game and you'll actually join in with them. And it'll be really interesting to see if Microsoft with either Xbox or some other branch they're going to end up building from their company to see a really good integration like what Steam has there, but with the social media side, because the Steam chat and the Steam friends is a very big mess.
Yes. One thing that I don't like about the Steam chat is that it's pretty temporary.
Yeah, it's very hard to use. It's not very friendly. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got on Discord.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on Linus on it. I don't see Microsoft buying Discord. I don't think it's a serious thing.
Speaking of serious things,
these sponsors.
It is brought to you by jmartmedia.com.
Oh, and nephew.tech.com. You want to know what I did this week?
What did you do this week?
Well, guess who still owns the domain nephew.tech.com?
You?
I do.
Nice.
I did not renew it for 1 year. I went ahead and renewed that sucker for 5 years.
So we're in it for the long haul.
Right.
Or at least the 5 years.
For the 5 years. I figure at this point, I'm getting tired of having to log in and renew a domain every month. So this year, I'm going through, and every time it wants me to renew a domain, I'm just hitting 5 years and just.
So in 2026, you're gonna have to go back.
In 2020, yeah. There's gonna be a live stream of me just crying when I have to see the new bill to renew for another 5 years.
Yeah.
Don't buy domains. They're an expensive hobby. They're a very expensive hobby.
Speaking of domains, this exchange attack. So there's 2 links there in the doc. The second link actually has information about the original hacking attack. And the way it works is somehow the hackers are able to make the emails appear as if they're coming from a specific domain. And usually email servers will reject or flag or mark as spam emails that say they're coming from one domain but actually come from somewhere else. But because of an issue with this Microsoft Exchange, it appears that those emails were going through as if they were actually sent from the domain that they said they were sent from, even though they weren't. And it's occurring with people who have the Microsoft 365 or Office 365 suite or whatever. So I guess in that case, it's Outlook, the email program. And they send you an email that says you need to do something with your Office 365 account. It takes you to a fake Office 365 login page where you type in your credentials, and it's not a real Microsoft site, so those credentials get sent to the hacker and you're pawned. And now they have your login info, and if you use that password anywhere else with that same email, you're doomed. So basically, you know, a regular old phishing attack, except for the emails appear to come from a site that didn't actually come from. if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. One of the big scary parts of this, I had actually Google it really fast. Was that I use, I don't know how much I should actually talk about that. I use cPanel through my domain service provider or my web hosting service. And I actually had to look up real fast on what my email service runs on, because I don't know what the default is through the hosting provider. Like, I don't know exactly how that works. It is not Exchange, which is a good thing, I guess. But it looks like GoDaddy has a very easy setup for an Exchange email setup. So if you have a GoDaddy account, I would definitely check in to see how your emails accounts are set up and if they're using an Exchange server. Otherwise, I mean, I think it's the general practice of don't open an email you're not expecting ordeal.
Definitely. Yeah.
One of the interesting stories on not opening emails that you're not expecting, I guess, is a cool story. Someone else who lives in this house, that's not me, had a little bit of a problem opening up a link in an email. We know where that story's going, right? So it was actually going to NPR, National Public Radio or something, whatever that official place is. They were sending emails with like their articles they're writing. But when you click on it, it actually goes through a third-party site first, and then it goes through their website. The problem is I have a very nice ad blocking setup on the home DNS service now. And so every time they were clicking on these links, it was instantly killing all the web pages and just saying this web page cannot be displayed. Please contact your server administrator or whatever. And so I ended up having to take them actually off of the DNS service. And so now they're just going through as any other household in America essentially would use the internet, which is fine. They don't get the beauty of ad blocking, but I enjoy the ad blocking. That's really why I got it. And that's one of those things. It's like, don't click on the links. Like, those aren't bad links. It's probably what we had talked about with the simply being able to track on what users are clicking on your newsletter.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably not harmful. If anything, they're getting their 1/100th of a penny off an ad, but yeah, I don't know. It's mind-boggling to me that people do click these emails, but at the same time, it's like, I know these people, so
this is my customer base.
Yep. I eat because of you.
That brings us back to The Verge. Apple's upcoming mixed reality headset will reportedly weigh less than an iPhone.
So how small are the apples you eat? I'm imagining like tangerine-sized apples.
To be honest, I may or may not have just Googled how much does an apple weigh, and it told me about 100 grams, which is less than 150 grams.
Okay. Huh.
I would have said, and I did think that an apple would weigh about the same as an iPhone, but apparently an iPhone weighs more than, the average apple that Google's aware of, at least. Yeah. But this headset's supposed to come in right at 150 grams, or it says it could weigh less than 150 grams, so it's probably going to be right around that range. And this is pretty light compared to all the other headsets out there. I didn't actually check in on the HTC Vive, which actually that might be a good idea to check. But the Oculus Quest 2 is 503 grams, Microsoft HoloLens is 645 grams, and the Valve Index is 809 grams. So it's like 5 times heavier than this Apple headset.
I'm just looking this up real fast because I think Granny Smith is the type of apple I usually eat. I'm having a really hard time believing that the apples I have weigh this little. Darn. Oh, okay. So if it's cut up and sliced, it's 109 grams.
So what does that mean? Remove the core?
Yeah. The average medium is 167. Larges are 206. Smalls are 144.
Okay, so this headset will weigh about the weight of an apple.
Okay. We got that one out of the way. Granny Smith apples. Those are the ones you should go with.
Honeycrisp all the way, and Granny
Really?
Smith, I would say second place. So, actually, let me look and see how much the Vive weighs. HTC Vive.
About 14 pounds when you put the battery pack in there with it.
Okay, this says 470 grams, which must be without the battery pack.
Yep. So the downside is I also have the wireless adapter on top.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you talk about like 470 grams for like the actual face unit,
So, go ahead.
that's like a third of the weight, not
Yeah.
including the wireless adapter or the battery. Which, I mean, the battery's on my waist, so it's not that big of a deal. But
How big of a difference do you think that's going to make? I mean, I assume
Honestly?
it'll make the experience way better. But
I think if you could apply venting holes that don't let in light, I would rather have that than 300 less grams. If I had to choose between which technology you're going to pay your top scientist on, I would rather have the 300 grams and better venting than it not have good venting and weigh 300 grams less.
okay.
I was talking to one of my friends about this because they're waiting to buy a couple generations later in VR. I was like, well, what are you expecting? Like, why are you waiting? What is your expectations of VR in 2 years? I mean, every year it's going to be better. That's kind of how technology works. So when is the jumping in point? And I was like, I really love my headset, and it's like 3 years old. The only thing I don't like about it is that I have to take it off for like 3 times for the first 10 minutes until the humidity adjusts inside the headset. I have to like wipe out fog, put it back on, take it off, wipe out fog, put it back on. And those first 10 minutes are the worst 10 minutes in VR. But then the next 7 hours that I play it is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the venting.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't complain if they could fix the venting and take off 300 grams.
But there's more important things than the weight.
Yeah. Now, I'm also a slightly bigger guy. I wouldn't call myself the smallest person in the world. So I'm not sure if, 300 grams to me would be the same as to like someone else that simply isn't used to having to whip around, 7 feet of hair on the back of their head for 2 years. So I am curious, if that does play any type of role.
Yeah. And the nice thing about the Vive is that all that weight is not on the front of your head. Like,
Right.
for example, with my quadcopter FPV goggles, all that weight is on the front of the head, and it's not that great.
It's
but with
super
the Vive, it's
uncomfortable.
balanced out. Yeah. So it's not like the front of your head's getting pulled down, but the wireless adapter thing is on the back of your head to kind of even out your head. So.
And then, unlike you, I have a naturally big head. I can't wear normal baseball hats. Like, they just don't fit. Like, I stick it on, it just slides up and falls off.
Yeah.
And so I wonder how much of a role that plays on simply the VR headset fitting better, simply because there's more for it to hold on to.
Yeah.
But looking from the picture, it looks pretty cool, I gotta say. I mean,
It better have a top strap, I think.
that's what I was gonna get to, is that I would have a really hard time believing that you wouldn't want a top strap. And the other big curious thing, if you just put a top strap on there, just going from the top to the top of this one, I could still see it bouncing a little bit. So one of the things, I play one game right now, Phasmophobia, and that doesn't involve much fast movement. It's it's a calm game. It's a really easy way to say that. There's no like.
It's a horror game.
Yeah, it's a horror game. But
Ironically, is yeah.
it's not a workout game.
Yeah.
And so I played Beat Saber, I think yesterday, and I didn't adjust my headset straps, and a wall comes in and that you have to like crouch to duck under, and I went to crouch down, and the headset actually came and it flipped down and then popped me back up in the face.
Ouch.
Because I wear it so loose while playing Phasmophobia that my eyes can breathe, so it's not so pressed up against me. But then I went to play a workout game, and the headset's so loose it's bouncing on and off my face. And I only played Beat Saber for like 15 minutes because I had to have it so tight to hold it onto me that it was not the most comfortable thing in the world.
Gotcha.
So that's one thing I would fear here. That is a lot of padding, though, if that's all cushion. So I wonder if it would simply have more cushion on your face, while the Vive has a very thin layer of pad.
And then also, you haven't looked at the price, but the price is pretty horrendous. Yeah, they said
it's more affordable.
It may come out around $3K.
Wow.
So
that's rough. Yeah, if there was two things that I, as a seasoned VR player, could ask the top scientists to do, it would be to make that more breathable and to make it all wireless. Because I have the wireless add-on for the VR headset, and that really brought me back into VR, because it kind of sat there for 6 months to like a year without me even playing it. It just sat on the table because the cable was so annoying. It pulled you out of the experience like that. Whereas without that cable, the only thing that pulls me out of the experience is the drywall. That's a joke.
The actual physical barriers. So if they could outsource more of the headset to be like in your pockets or maybe a small backpack, would you like that? Because it's still not connected to the earth,
right,
to the room. It's kind of wireless, kind of not wireless, but would that be a good compromise?
I think it would be. So like the big downsides to being like attached anywhere else on your body is that you kind of limit that part of the body can't be touched. Yeah. So like if you put it on a backpack, you can't lay on your back. The amount of times you lay on your back in VR is very limited. So it's not like that big of a deal. I kind of suffer from a sweaty back, so it's kind of like that stinks to be me thing. The battery sits on my waistband in the small of my back. That's completely fine there. The battery doesn't bother me at all, except for the fact when I sit down, I have 3D printed cases and it pops off my pants. And so when I stand back up, it just falls. That's me being too cheap to buy a battery holder. But yeah, so like if they could bring some of the headset, down to the shoulder, off the headset, even like between the shoulder blades or something, and have like this weird, I don't know the right, like a VR like bra or something that just holds it on the top part of your chest. That would work, like, because you're not going to notice, 300 grams on your chest. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is that cable, because when you're walking in VR and you step on that cable and your head goes, it's a game-breaking experience. It's like, okay, well, I would rather not play VR than to have that happen to me.
Yeah.
Oh, we made it almost. I mean,
yeah, that was
43 minutes in.
We didn't have our 6 topics, but maybe 4 is the new 6.
4 is the new 6. We're so close. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
We'll talk about it next week.
We're going to talk about all the things next week.
All 4 of them. Oh, more things?
One more things. 3 days? 3 days is the 2 years that we've been doing it.
Thursday.
Yeah. I was like, should we call this the 2-year anniversary, or is it the one right after? We'll do it next week because yay us. We're gonna milk it for all it's worth.
We could do a throwback to the best articles we've discussed or something. Well, we can talk about it off the stream.
We're gonna do a hypercut of every time that I've touched my face in the streams. That was the hardest thing to stop doing.
A highlight of, hey guys, watch this.
Dude, the worst part of that is that it wasn't even on stream because it didn't get uploaded.
Yeah.
The best part of the live stream was the part you didn't get to see. Oh.
What a metaphor